he did what, church members? This is the problem. When you go a little bit further in that particular chapter, you will find that he, Judah, is the one that sought a wife for who? His son. Who? Er. He had 3 sons. Er, Onan, and who? Shelah. And he's the one who takes a daughter. A lady for his son. And that girl was called who? Tamar. There was in Genesis a tendency of fathers playing a role in the choice of their partners. If I take you back a little bit in Genesis chapter 34, who brings a wife for Isaac? Who brings a wife for Isaac? Eliezer, who's servant to who? Abraham. By the way, Abraham ameketi nyumbani, kuna jamaa hapa amefika 40 years old, anakula chakula yake, rent ni yeye analipa, everything else, until Abraham says, Eliezer, kuja. There is a gentleman here who doesn't want to do what? See. So could you kindly go out and help him to do what? See. You call me someday, I'll talk about Genesis 34. So we leave it at that, right? And so Genesis tells you that the father plays a role in getting a wife for a who? The man seated straight next to me. Simama tena. Yes. Leo ni kubaya. Kimeumana hapa. Make sure before you reach that stage, go and talk to my elder, Dr. Rina, and say, do I have your blessings for this person? Until he says, my son, you have seen well, you have my blessings. Now you can go. And don't take that wife to his house, all right? Remember the Bible says, for that reason, a man shall do what? What does the Bible say? He shall do what? Leave. Hii tabia ya kuchukua the ladies to your father's house, haiko kwa Biblia. Please be seated. After the divine hour, I'd like to lay my hands on you. All right. The Bible says, and they did what? Took her. Brethren, never take the hands of other gender before you have the blessings of your parents. Ako kaimeni kamejificha pahali fulani nataka kakuje. I'll repeat it again. Never take them. Because who else took her in the Bible and was in problems? Name him. What is his name? You got it right. Samson. In fact, he says, bring her for me. And he took her. Went in, and the rest you understand. Problems. And this is what he's doing, a problem. And he says, and he took her, comma. And the Bible says what there? Hiyo muisome pole pole, watoto wako hapa. What does the Bible say? Aya, hapo sisitiza kuketi kwa maana hamna watu wengi wameolewa hapa na kuoana. Tuende kwa next verse. The Bible says, and she did what? I would have spoken much about that too, but let me continue. And he bore, no, come on. And she conceived, and he bore a what? A son. And he called his name, firstborn. He's called who? Er. There's a meaning to that. I'm going to leave that for the interest of time. I was told that we have to finish for 1. Let's go to the next verse. The Bible says this. And she, next verse. And she conceived, what again? And bore a what? His name was who? There is a meaning to that name. I'll leave it again for the moment. For the interest of time, the Bible says, and she called him Honor. And then she did what, church? This lady was blessed. Conceived. Conceived again. Again did what? Conceived again. How many children are those? 3. Blessed are they who have their quiver full of children. Na hiyo sitaisema sana maana hapa pia mjafikia hapo. Mungu awabariki. And he bore a son. And he called his name who? There's a meaning to that also. And probably part in the afternoon, if we have time, we're going to express what all this means. Then he says, and he was at Chezib. Chezib here is a place where there was dryness of some sort. In other words, he has left the brethren. He has left grace. And he has taken himself to where there is dryness. And there he has born how many children? 3. The Bible says, when she bare him, he was at Chezib. Let's go to verse 6. The Bible records and says, and Judah took a wife for who? Unaona sasa? yeye amechukua mke akampa mtoto wake wa kwanza anayeitwa nani? Er. Mbona hakusubiri na yeye abarikiwe na Yakobo? That is where the problem was. But anyway, let's just continue. He gave a wife for his firstborn, whose name was who? Tamar. There is a meaning for that name too. Tamar. By the way, that's where we find some girls being called what? Tamara. You get that? It means sweetness and fruitful and safety. All right. For those of you who are anticipating, you've gotten a name already. Write it down. Okay, I'm going to talk about this afternoon, about all these names. And so he found a name, a girl by the name Tamar. Okay, fine. Let's go to the next. The Bible says, and Judah's firstborn, was what, church? Wicked. In the sight of the Lord. And the Bible says, who killed him? Who killed him? Maybe let's go a little bit ahead because I'm going to combine this together. And then there was another son. Let's go. Verse 8. The Bible says, and Judah said unto Onan. Who was Onan? Just say his brother. Who was Onan? And so here Judah says to Onan, go in unto thy brother's wife and marry her and raise up a seed to thy brother. Let me explain that. In the book of Deuteronomy chapter 25, from verse 5 to 10, in the Levites' rules, whenever you have brothers and the firstborn dies, the other one was called to marry the brother's wife who is dead. You're going to read that at some other time. Deuteronomy 25 from verse 5 all the way to 10.